Hi, my name is Vince. The reason why you clicked on today's video is because you are considering selling your house and you do not want to be taken advantage of. So I am going to walk you through the top 10 things that you should never, ever agree to when selling your house. Let's get started. Okay, let's get to it. Now, I do want to say up front, sellers, fair warning, I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm here to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, okay? Now, look, I understand that selling a house is very emotional. Trust me, I have sold many houses. I know that you have memories in every room, you raised your family there, but when it comes time to selling your house, you need to remember that you are a business owner, not a homeowner. Look, if somebody tells you that they're going to sell your house and they guarantee you that it's going to be a smooth transaction, I can guarantee you that they're not telling you the truth. Look, I've been selling houses here in EASTVALE and across the Inland Empire for a long time. And I see sellers make the same mistake over and over. So with these 10 things I'm about to tell you, knowing those ahead of time before you list will help the transaction go towards a smooth transaction versus a train wreck. Number 10, do not let just anyone into your house. Sometimes I wonder why we still need to say this, but there are still some gullible people out there, so that's why we keep on repeating this. So even if an agent calls you and says, hey, I have a buyer that wants to see your house in the next 30 minutes, don't let them in. You don't know who they are. They haven't verified anything. Make sure they go through your agent. Then your agent should be doing two things. They should be verifying and vetting that it's truly an agent and that is a qualified buyer. And secondly, this is not going to make some agents happy, but I'm going to say it. Your agent should be at the house, meeting them, meeting every single buyer that comes to your house, because it's your agent's job to show them the house and make your house shine. Here's why. Not everybody that wants to walk through your home is a qualified buyer. Some are just curious neighbors, and some, believe this or not, are casing your house. Yes, I'm serious. Casing your house. We have seen some crazy things. So if it truly is a qualified buyer, their agent can go through your agent, and your agent, like I said before, will do everything they need to do to make sure they're vetted and they know who's coming into your house and everybody's accounted for. I remember one family actually here in Eastvale that was helping them sell their house. They actually received a phone call, quick phone call, sob story, and they, out of being nice, they allowed this couple to come into their house without me being there. And then 5 days later, this couple showed up again, knocking on the door with 6 other family members there asking to come in and see the house. As you can imagine, it got very awkward. Do not put yourself in this position. I remember number 9, do not accept an offer before the open house. Why do I say this? Because if you have top marketing and you have your price home correctly, I can assure you that you're going to get many people that come into your house. When you do that, you're going to get multiple offers. Multiple offers are what drive the price up to what the maximum price is that you can sell for. Keep in mind, fair market value is what a buyer is willing to pay and what a seller is willing to accept. So when you have multiple offers, that'll take that to the highest amount possible. Do me a favor, if you've sold your home before, you're watching this video, and you did accept your first offer, even if your results are not what I'm saying, do me a favor, drop a comment and let us know what your experience was. Myself and other people watching this video are going to love to hear your experience. Number 8, never skip verifying how the buyer is going to pay for the property. Although they have several options, it is most likely going to come down to one of these two. They're either going to finance it or they're going to pay cash. If they're going to finance it, make sure that you receive a pre-approval letter with the offer. That pre-approval letter means that they've sat down with the lender has verified their documents, finance documents, and so forth at a high level, but at least they've verified them and they've given them a pre-approval letter. So they should be approved for that loan. Now, keep in mind, once escrow opens, you can get a nice offer. You can be very happy. Not trying to be Debbie Downer here, but don't get too excited. Why? Because like I said, they were pre-approved. This whole transaction relies on that buyer being final approved for the loan to purchase your home. So once escrow opens, that buyer's file now goes to the lender's underwriter. The underwriter's sole job is to make sure that everything that they submitted is accurate and that they did not leave out any information. Some buyers tend to forget that they had child support or they had late payments on a car or something like that. Those things will come up. You cannot hide anything from an underwriter. So underwriter, like I said, they're going to find out if there's anything missing. Once that underwriter approves them, now that buyer is fully approved to buy that property. Number 2, if the buyer is going to pay cash for the property, you cannot just take their word for it. make sure that your agent reviews the bank statements from the buyers. And those bank statements need to be current, and they need to have the buyer's name or the buyer's entity name on those bank statements. Number 7, never blindly agree to pay for all of the buyer's closing costs. Now, let me be clear. In some situations, it could make sense to contribute or even pay the entire request of the buyer's closing costs. For an example, if we are in a heavy buyer's market, which we're not right now, or if your home has been sitting for a long time. But what many sellers do not understand, and you need to be clear on this, is that if you agree to those concessions, you need to understand that those concessions come directly out of your proceeds. Let me give you an example. Let's just say the purchase price on your home that you accept is $850,000, and the buyer is asking for 3% towards closing costs. That's $25,500 directly out of your pocket. Then I see sellers agreeing to many things on top of that. For an example, a home warranty that could be up to $1,000. Then sellers, this is, if you remember anything from this video, this is what I need you to remember. Be careful, because when it comes to home inspections, which the buyer will do on your home, is that this is where they try and take advantage of you. They'll get you into an agreement, let's just say in this case, $850,000. Then when those reports come, and please don't be naive to think that the report that you get on your house is going to be clear. Every single report, it doesn't matter what condition your home is in, you will have items called out on the report. Some more, some less, but I assure you, you will have items called out in that report. And where they try and take advantage of you is they're going to take that report, come back to you and say, I want these 15 things fixed before close, or I want a $50,000 credit. That's where they try and take advantage of you. By the way, our process will not allow you to be in that position, to be vulnerable, to allow yourself to be in that position. If you want to learn more about that, just reach out to me and I'll let you know. Anyways, as a seller, what you need to remember is that all concessions requests from the buyer are all negotiable. You are not obligated to do any of them, but it all depends on the market, who has most leverage. In this case, it's a very balanced market, so both sides need to play fair, and each side needs to feel like they're getting something. From a seller's perspective, if you're going to give something up, you need to make sure that you're going to get something back. Number 6, do not make any expensive repairs before you speak with your agent. I see this all the time. Sellers will decide to get their house ready, so they spend $15,000 on a kitchen upgrade, $20,000 on new floors, list the property, buyers come in. What happens? Buyers actually like the property, but they do not like the upgrade. So they're going to do one of two things. They're either going to make you a lowball offer, which you're not going to accept, or number 2, they're not going to make an offer at all, and they're just going to walk on to the next property. Now you just spent $35,000 for nothing. You do not want to be in this situation. Before you do anything, have your agent walk you through their property. Your agent should have a very good understanding of what buyers are looking for. Let them walk you through your home and let them guide you on what repairs or upgrades need to be made that would definitely move the needle. Sometimes it's just painting, sometimes it's decluttering, or sometimes it's staging the property. But take this very serious. I cannot stress this enough, because you do not want to spend any money unnecessarily. Okay, we're halfway through. Before we get to the last 5 items, I just want to take this moment to ask you if you are getting any value from this video. If I could just ask you to give it a quick like and subscribe to my channel, I would truly appreciate it. The reason I ask is because it truly does allow me to get more information out there to viewers just like you that are searching for information on how best to buy or sell their property. Thank you. Number 5, never, ever, ever let a buyer in before the close of escrow. This is called early possession. You get a phone call from the buyer. Buyer says, hey, we're kind of in between places. We just want to move in a few items in your garage. So here's why. Let's just say escrow falls out. Sometimes escrows do fall out. Now you find yourself with someone else's belongings in your home. Once that happens, they can claim what's called tenancy rights. Now you find yourself in a legal situation, not just a real estate situation. Especially in California, you do not want to be in this situation because tenant laws are no joke here. What started off as a favor has now turned into an eviction process. You do not want to be going through an eviction process. So the answer is very simple, sellers. Let me just tell you, buyers do not move in a day, an hour, or a minute before the property records in their name. Number 4, be very careful of accepting a contingent offer. What is a contingent offer? That means that the buyer's current home must sell before they can buy your home. If you do accept a contingent offer, that means basically that your home is off the market during the time that it's taking them to sell their house. Now their home could take 30, 60, and 90 days to sell, and you're just sitting there waiting, and you cannot accept any other offers while you're waiting for their home to sell. Now, although you can accept an offer, it can only be a backup offer. It cannot go in front of their offer. So if you are going to accept a contingent offer, and sometimes it is the right move to make, that you do not accept it without a kickout clause. Remember, as a seller, you want to receive something back if you're going to give something. For an example, we will receive your contingent offer, but we have a kickout clause. And what that means is we will give you 60 days to get into contract. In those 60 days, we are going to stay active on the market, and we're still going to show the property. If we get an offer that we want to entertain, we will give you the first right to move forward, and we'll give you 3 days. In those 3 days, if you move forward, great, everything continues. If you cannot move forward in those 3 days, we cancel your escrow and we move forward with the new offer. Remember, as a seller, you never want to be in a vulnerable position, and you never want to give up opportunities. Number 3, do not casually agree to give up personal items. What do I mean by that? Be ready, because buyers are going to ask you for items. Buyers are going to ask you for your refrigerator. They're going to ask you for your washer and dryer. They're going to ask you for the big screen mounted TV on the wall. And they're also going to ask you for grandma's chandelier she left you. Now, often in the excitement of receiving an offer, sellers will agree to these things without truly thinking about it. So here's the rule. If it's not attached or fixed or bolted down to the property, that's considered personal property, your property, and you are not required to leave it behind. On the flip side, if it is attached or bolted down to the property, it is presumed to go along with the sale of the home, but you are not required to leave it. For an example, if you want to keep grandma's chandelier, you can. Just make sure you specify that from the very beginning of your listing. That way it avoids any issues once you get into escrow. And here's the thing, if you are going to leave something behind, which is absolutely okay, just know what you paid for it and what the replacement cost is going to be to replace it after you sell your home. Make sure that those numbers are factored into the net sheet before you agree to it, not after. Number 2, do not sign a long-term listing agreement without a way to cancel. Most listing agreements are for 6 months. Some agents actually try and push for a year. But look, if you trust your agent and they're performing, great. But what if they're not? What if your house has sat for over 100 days? There's no marketing, no open houses, no reporting back to you. And every time you call your agent, they just say, be patient. Or worse yet, they don't answer. You need a cancellation clause. If your agent isn't performing, you should be able to terminate that listing agreement with a written notice, typically within 30 days. Do not get locked into a relationship that isn't working. Number 1, do not price your home based on what you feel it's worth. This is the single most expensive mistake sellers make. Remember, when it comes time to selling your home, you are a business owner, not a homeowner. I know it's hard, but you have to take your emotions out of it. Let's just say you lived in your house for 10 years. You put in a pool, you did some upgrades. Well, now you think your home is worth, let's just say $1 million. This is where I have to be truthful with you sellers. The buyers, which is the market, do not give a on what you spent for those upgrades. What they care about are what like homes, comps, have sold for recently and that have similar upgrades like yours. Overpricing your home does not get you more money. It gets you more days on the market and fewer or no showings at all, and eventually a price reduction. And by the time you reduce your price, you will get nothing but lowball offers, and now you are chasing the market. This is not a situation you want to be in as a seller. The market sets the price. It's your agent's job to give you the data. They need to give you comp sales, price per square foot, and days on the market. Based on that information, you will know what your home's true value is. Here's the thing about Eastvale. When you compare us to Orange County or LA County, we are definitely more affordable. But that doesn't mean that we can just list our prices way above market value. Buyers are very price conscious. They know their numbers. They're looking at numbers, comps, price per square foot. And if our numbers do not make sense, they just simply move on to the next listing. I'm not saying that selling your home has to be stressful, but you do have to be smart, or it can become stressful. Look, the top 10 things that I just gave you all come down to one principle. Treat this as a business decision, not an emotional one. And the single most important thing you can do is work with someone who you trust, who you truly trust, that you know has your best interests at heart, that'll walk you through step by step through the entire process from list all the way to close. Okay, that's it. I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you have any questions for me, as you can see here, all my contact information is right here. If you have any comments about this video, please do me a favor and drop it in the comments below. I assure you that I answer every single comment. Lastly, if you are considering buying or selling a home in Eastvale or the general Inland Empire, I am for hire. So feel free to reach out to me directly. I can assure you also that I answer every single call. Thank you again for watching. My name is Vince, and I will see you on the next video.